Well, good morning, everyone. This is Patrick at Qdabra Software, and I'm really happy to have everyone here this morning. We're thrilled to be to be announcing DBXL version 3 today. It just went live on our website. It's been over a year in the making, and we're going to be talking and doing some really cool demos of our flagship accelerator for SharePoint and InfoPath and SQL. We're going to talk about it and give you a quick 25-minute webinar with a bunch of demos. Hope you're all excited. First, before we get going, I've got a quick poll for folks, and I'm going to just to launch this thing. It's just one question, just to get an idea of where people are at, and we'll do a quick poll here to see how many of you have DBXL and which version for some of you. We've been working on DBXL for over 10 years. It started out being our big gap filler for SharePoint. It was a way to help people submit repeating data to SQL databases so they could report on it. And that was back in 2004. And we had a big hospital that we prototyped it at. And since then, we thought that Microsoft would put us out of business with BCS and other technologies, but it never happened. So it looks like most of you have not installed this before, so that's great. We have about 25% of you on v2.9, 17% 2.8 or earlier, and then about 58% of you have not actually downloaded it. So that's great. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so today, first couple quick slides on what is DBXL and why is it good, and then we'll get into the demos. So first off, DBXL is just a generic web service for your InfoPath forms. What that means is that you can take, InfoPath is unique in the Office products because you can connect to a web service without having to write code. REST web services, SOAP web services, you can consume data from those web services and submit to SOAP web services without any code. But Microsoft doesn't give you the web service for mapping to SQL. SQL database, which is useful when you have lots and lots of forms and you want to do reporting. So DBXL's main job in life is to help you map that repeating data in your XML forms to SQL. And most forms will have repeating data. 95% of all those forms out there have a repeating table or a repeating section. So it's very, very necessary to be able to get the data out of your forms and into SQL. So DBXL supports a data-driven architecture for querying, so it's not just about submitting. You can also query your tables in multiple databases using a query language, an XML query language, and we have a tool that allows you to build those queries. In addition, we're announcing today that 3.0 supports rendering forms as PDF on the server. We're going to show you some very cool demos on that in about 2 minutes. You can send the forms with the PDF attached. It also gives you a wonderful email now. We've got HTML view support in the email. And of course, it has been integrated with Active Directory for a long time. We've got 10+ year history, as I said, thousands of users. Why is it good? Well, we want to be able to go beyond the default limitations in SharePoint. If you're using SharePoint libraries, a lot of people talk about this 5,000 row limit. It's not true that there's a hard limit at 5,000, but Microsoft, if you're on 365, will state 5,000 as the first. And in order to get around that, you need to map your data and store it somewhere else. You can actually try to index the data to go beyond 5,000. As long as you index it, set of an index before you hit 5,000, you can do that in 365. On-prem is a little more flexible, but in general, you're not going to want to store 5 to 50,000 or more documents in SharePoint. It's just not an efficient storage location for data. It doesn't have a lot of high-performant indexing functionality and the ability to query things quickly. And that's because SharePoint has to render the data into a HTML view, and that rendering process becomes a bottleneck. If you just have to query SQL, you don't care about that rendering process. But unfortunately, to query the data in SharePoint, you have to go through that bottleneck. So moving the data to SQL both speeds up your query time, also allows you to store more data. And this is really the key value out of DBXL is to add that connector between your forms and SQL. obviously provide those missing features, so you can report on your missing data, your repeating data. You can dynamically, obviously, query SQL, and now you can generate PDFs in 3.0. In addition, the way we've built 3.0 DBXL, this is an accelerator for consulting projects, DBXL is, and that therefore you can actually make changes to your form, make changes to your server without having to redeploy the web service. And it's just one web service for all of your forms. So it's really low cost to maintain. It doesn't break the submit process when something changes, and it's easier to migrate your data than with just plain SharePoint. So in 3.0, and you can go to our web page here, we've got on our web, we've got what's new here. We're going to get rid of this first item, though. I told the web server admin the wrong thing. This is from our slide deck. Obviously, DBXL has been supporting scalability for over 10 years. But you can see the other items here. And basically, PDF rendering is huge. No workflows needed to do this. DBXL does support simple workflows. Really haven't talked about that, but that's been there for quite a while. We're also going to demo archiving PDF to a separate library, so you can synchronize that and have people use it offline. We're going to demo sending images and attachments today, and also having those emails show the view of the form in HTML. And we have a lot of Office 365 integration. So, first killer scenario for you, the first use case today is to send forms externally. And the first demo is we're going to submit a form from 365 to a form library in 365, and that form library is going to be synchronized with DBXL in Azure. It can be anywhere. It can be on your SharePoint. Well, you typically don't want to put it on your SharePoint server, but it would typically be on a server in your domain. But in this case, we have Azure because we're using 365. And DBXL is going to then submit the document to the database and generate a PDF and send that PDF out to a bunch of our colleagues. In this case, the people filling out the form. So I'm going to quickly switch to, I'd like to introduce Rima Daga, who's our support engineer and key tester on DBXL. And Rima, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, sound great. Thank you for being here.
Hi everybody, my name is Rima, as Patrick just introduced, and I'm going to submit a form here, which is an expense report form.
And for those of you who haven't seen this form before, we use this form for a lot of our demos. It's got a bunch of other features that we're not demoing today in it, but it's just a stock expense report form with a bunch of views. They're tabbed. We've done a lot of webinars on how to create simple, elegant designs. This one's a little bit loud. It's got the red going pretty strong, but you can get the idea that Rima's filling this out. She's adding some information, and this email is key. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Rima. Yeah, make sure that you get my email address right.
All right.
Let's put it. You want to put in a couple expenses for my trip to San Diego a couple days ago, or your trip. You can just car. Let's put it in one expense for Uber, and and let's see, transportation, let's make it like $25. And then let's do another expense just to show the repeating data. Let's do another expense for the airline, just call it Delta or something, 10-15. Like, I don't know, it's $350 or something like that to San Diego from Seattle. And put in a purpose customer visit there. I should just shut up and let you drive, but at the top there, if you can put in customer purpose there and then add an image, that'd be great.
Yeah.
On top there is purpose. Yeah, we got a bug in the total there. That looks like no big deal.
Yeah.
You know it's demo when there's a bug. So Rima's adding an image, and this is critical for the. This is your comic strip for the day here. Critical for the demo because you want to show how those images are being handled. That looks good.
I'm going to go ahead and submit this.
And as I mentioned, the form is submitting. You can see there it is in 365, and Rima's going to refresh this list, and you're going to see that DBXL hash code appear for that item. Actually, there's a couple things, Rima. Can you go back to the library first?
Yeah.
I don't want to do that demo yet. Just refresh this one here and show them that we're going to use that DBXL hash to indicate that it actually has mapped it to the database. So we are promoting this DBXL hash column to just show ourselves that it's actually been synchronized with the database. And did you get an email yet? I mean, maybe I should check my email, but since you're sharing out, maybe we can open your email and see if we got it.
I got the email. Yeah.
Oh, great.
You can see the email.
Let's open that up and let's take a look at that email there. So one of the new features in DBXL 3.0 is the ability to send the view, errors and all, to the person's email address. So we're actually rendering the view in HTML and sending that on the server. So why is this cool? And can you scroll down to the bottom, Rima, and show them the image? I think we got the image in there. The reason why this is cool is a lot of you, if you want to generate emails from a browser form, you can't do it easily with 365. If you're doing it on-prem and you're using QRules or some code in your forms, you have to do an admin deploy. So it simplifies that because you don't have to do that anymore. You can just have your form submit to the web service and it'll automatically generate the emails. We'll show you how that's configured maybe in our next webinar. Rima, let's take a look at that image that's attached. The other thing to point out here is that not only are we rendering the view, but we're also attaching the image. And let's take a look at the first one there, the PDF. So the PDF, the form is getting rendered as PDF, being sent to Rima, and it's also, we're stripping out the images and attaching them separately. So you can see here the PDF rendering actually looks even better than the HTML. You can see that at the very bottom there. Did we get the image in that as well? Rima, I just want to verify that image.
Yeah.
Great. And then, okay, so that's the first demo. So I'm going to switch back and quickly go back to my my presentation. Thank you for use case number one, Rima. That looked great. So once again, just to refresh, user submitted the form. DBXL did the synchronization. So there's a DBXL app that you install on 365. Event receiver is installed in SharePoint on-prem, and it then submits the document to the database, maps it to your database tables for reporting purposes. That's the functionality we've had in there all the time. The new functionality in 3.0 is to generate the PDF and send an email. Now, why do you care? Well, you might have users externally that don't have InfoPath that want to see and verify that something was submitted on their behalf. So that's really critical. PDF's a pretty standard format. They should be able to see that. With the image attachments, sometimes if they're on their mobile device, that HTML view, it's going to be hard to pinch and zoom. So we attach the images now separately so they can actually select those from their phone and zoom in on them and see all the detail of those images. That's a really killer feature in 3.0. If you get questions on these, please answer them. We've got our chief technical guru, Jim Canwell, here, who is also our DBXL developer here to answer questions later. So if you have questions, don't be shy. So scenario number two, cool scenario number two is to archive copies of the forms. And Rima almost showed you this in the previous demo, but basically what this means is that in addition to sending you those emails with those PDFs now for those forms, we're also going to synchronize them to a folder location, which could be Dropbox, could be OneDrive. In this case, it's just going to be a network folder. And so, Rima, this is a really quick demo here. Let's just go back. In fact, I think I can just go there myself. Let me just go there, see if I can go there myself. What's the link again? It's
dbxl365formsport.com/pdf.
yeah, I guess I have to be authenticated, right? Okay, so here's the network folder, and you can see that last night I was testing this, and this is, of course, Eastern time. I don't know what time it is. I guess it's Greenwich Mean Time, so it's UK time. But you can see that here's the PDF that Rima just submitted And that's exactly the document that she submitted. So those PDF forms are actually being submitted off to being archived off to a separate folder. The reason why this is cool is if your users are synchronizing offline, they can then see those forms. And it's not just the PDFs. You can also synchronize the XML if they have InfoPath Filler installed locally. They can see those as well. But if they don't have InfoPath, of course, that's why the PDF is so valuable. Okay, so let's go back to our slide deck. That's cool scenario number 2. So the last scenario we want to show, we've got a few bonus demos here, hopefully, to maybe show you at the end. But the last cool scenario with DBXL 3.0 is this ability to automatically generate forms. So there's a lot of times when you want to generate an XML for somebody specifically. So they interact with a web page, and you want to automatically generate a form and send it to them for filling it out, and you want to pre-populate that form with some data that is specific to them. It could be their employee information, it could be something specific to their project. And so we've added this feature to 3.0. It's a very interesting feature because it allows you to trigger the creation of a form and send it to somebody all in one shot. And Rima, I'd like you to show them this demo quickly. I'm just going to make you the presenter again.
Mm-hmm.
What Rima's going to do is she's going to actually show you the SQL database. Many of you know SQL, so we're just going to show you creating a row in SQL. Now, obviously a web page could do this, but it's easier to show you that, yes, we're actually just creating one row in SQL, and that's going to generate a trigger. It's going to trigger the generation of an InfoPath form that could then get sent to the user. Go.
I'm going to execute this query, and I should receive an email in just a few seconds. Okay, there. This is the XML.
Can you double click on it?
Yeah, I can see that.
So this is a great feature for people in the field who they need to fill out something offline and they want to get the form. Now, have you actually installed this form before, Rima? It's cool. So if Rima had installed this form, and obviously the user needs to have the form installed, otherwise it won't know to open InfoPath locally. We won't know which template to use because the template isn't cached. And we just threw this demo in at the end of our use cases today. But what Rima should have seen is she should have seen the form just open up in InfoPath and show her that expense report form. So I'm going to switch back to my presentation again. So anyway, that's the third feature there, and that is to automatically generate an XML and send it to the user. And then if they have actually used that form before, they can double-click on the XML, open it in InfoPath, and then submit it. Typically, you'd use this scenario if they were going to submit it via email. So it allows you to cache forms in Outlook, in email, and have them then sent back to the server using the same transport layer, same email transport. That's a very cool feature too. So quickly then, so DBXL, in addition to all the other features we've demoed over the years, reporting on repeating data, Active Directory, the query logic, and all the other functionality that we built in, we've got over 100 different web methods in DBXL. If you go to the DBXL, if you install DBXL, you can take a look at, you'll get this screen when you install DBXL. And you'll know it's 3.0 at the bottom. We have the version information there. And you'll see all the web services that we have. So we have web services for, of course, submitting documents to DBXL, for getting Active Directory information, for querying the database, and a whole bunch of other things. We have tools. You can install a lot of documentation. But we've been adding to this web service kit for, like I said, over 10 years. We're really happy about 3.0. It's taken us over a year to get all the features in and tested. The requirements are pretty simple. You have to have a form that can open XML and submit it. We have 3 forms today that do that. InfoPath, of course, is the premier one. Qdabra's Forms Viewer also submits XML on using the InfoPath format, but it's not InfoPath. So for those of you worried about InfoPath's future, Forms Viewer is an option for you. PDF Share Forms also is an XML-based client for forms, and they will submit also XML to the web service. Obviously, PDF Share Forms already bind to PDF, but you still get the functionality of mapping the repeating data to the database and everything else. You need Windows Server 2008 or later, and that means Internet Information Services, IIS, needs to be installed and configured. You can use Azure, a Windows VM is fine. You will need a SQL database, 2005 or later, and SQL Express is free, and I think it covers up to 16 gigabytes of space these days, so that's usually good enough. That's what we use for our demo. We've got a couple bonus presentations here, and I'd like to show people quickly kind of what the admin tool looks like on 365 Rima, if you've got a few more minutes here. Let's do this. Let's go to the library you're just in and show them the DBXL settings page if you can. And I'm just going to make you presenter one more time. We've done a lot of work to integrate DBXL with 365 in 3.0. So not only have we done all this PDF stuff, but we've also actually done some work to make it easier to use with 365. And also, so we're going to go in here. Let's go to the expense report. Let's go to the library you're just at. Go to the library in 365, and then let's click on the library settings and show them where they would configure DBXL. So you'll basically install an app in 365 that synchronizes with DBXL, and once you've installed it, you'll get this screen. You'll be able to configure which instance of DBXL you're using, and let's take a look at the drop-down, Rima, because I want to show them that you can have your DBXL map to multiple. You can have your 365 site mapped to multiple DBXL instances. Here we've got like 6 different DBXL instances. And then down, let's just scroll down. Actually, let's show them. So you can actually see that there's a bunch of different configurations. So you can conditionally submit. If you don't want to submit until the status SQL is submitted, you can add a submit clause there. You can do the same thing for delete. If you want to delete the forms in your library because you want to go beyond 5,000, you can obviously keep them in DBXL so that you can continue doing reporting on the whole set, but they're essentially archived and they're deleted from the library. That you can configure that here. Let's go back to and show them the DAT from the site. Do you have the link to the? Yeah, there we go. That'll work.
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah.
So this is where you configure the different DBXL settings. And you can see here that we've got 6 of them. And then for each one of these, so we've got the page here. But let's actually go to the app, because in addition to the DBXL admin tool, everyone knows who has DBXL has been using the admin tool. But this is an InfoPath. So we've actually taken the admin tool now and we've moved it to the web page. Do you have that link, Rima?
I will have to check. I do have it. It's in my mail.
Yeah, no hurries. So one thing that we've done to make it easier is we've been converting a lot of these tools to actually be web pages, so that you don't need to have InfoPath Filler to configure your mapping. What we're going to try to show you here is in this bonus demo is an example of that. So the DBXL admin tool is how you configure DBXL today. Once you install it, you can open it in InfoPath Filler. We've also provided a web-based version of that, which hopefully should come up here in a second. And this is one of the DBXL instances that we have out there. It's in an Azure Cloud app, and it has the same.
Yeah.
So we've got a problem with it. If you were to see this, it will basically be the same UI as the admin tool, but it's a web page, so you don't actually need InfoPath Filler to configure DBXL. Okay, we'll skip that. And then lastly, we had, I guess that's it for now. We've also got a report builder tool that we've converted into a web page, and we'll do another demo in a couple weeks and show you those. I want to give people an opportunity to ask questions, And so I'm going to quickly switch back to presenter here and go to our question slide. Any questions for either me, Rima, or Jim? Hopefully, if not, we've got a quick 3-question. Okay, there's one question here from, actually there's quite a few questions coming in. Just a second here. So Michael's got a question on 365. It's not limited to 365. The tools that you just saw for configuring DBXL in the web page are not limited to 365. They are part of the DBXL install for 3.0. So we can definitely upgrade you, Michael, to get those. There are a few limitations. So you may still want to use the admin tool in the filler for a few more months. And we're trying to get the mapping, the database mapping, correctly moved over. And I think currently that may or may not be, actually I think it might be supported, but there's a couple other things that are not. So we're kind of rolling this out as part of 3.0, but it'll get better in the near term. And if you've already got DAT, which you do, you can continue using it within the filler. The other tools obviously all work in a web page, and they don't require 365. The event receiver app is installed in 365 in SharePoint on-prem. It's basically just installed in SharePoint as event receiver. So it's the same functionality. It's in the web page on both of those. For the registration page, that's specific to 365 because 365 might have multiple DBXLs it's submitting to, whereas if you're on-prem, you only have one instance. And then the other tools, DAT and Report Builder, those are web pages that can be launched in your on-prem environment as well. We just need to configure those for you as part of 3.0 install. Christopher's got a question on the timeline. It's available today. You can download it from our website. In fact, let me just switch to our website again. So that's a great question. Thanks, Chris, for asking it. If you download the trial today, you'll get 3.0. And there's a lot of documentation. Rima's been working hard on getting all the documentation updated so you can read about how to configure the PDF rendering and the other options that are new in 3.0. So please let us know if you have questions or comments. We're here to help you. We're here to also provide free demos for you if you want them. So please let us know in the survey. And of course, we'll send you this slide deck as part of the package for the webinar today. Just 4 quick questions in the survey, so hopefully you got like a minute, you can fill that out. We'd really appreciate it. And thanks for being here today. We've had a great time presenting to you, and hope to see you here next week. Next week we'll be talking about Forms Viewer, another product that we've been working on, and we'll be launching Forms Viewer hopefully next week, 1.1 officially. So hope you have a great day, everyone. Thanks so much.